To believe your own thought, to believe that what is true for you is your private heart, is true for all men. That is genius. One of the illusions is that the present hour is not the critical, decisive hour. Write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year. No man has learned anything rightly until he knows that every day is doomsday. Nothing divine dies. All good is internally reproductive. The beauty of the nature reforms itself in the mind, and not for barren contemplation, but for new creation. He who would gather immortal palms must not be hindered by the name of goodness, but must explore if it be goodness. Nothing is at last sacred, but the integrity of your own mind. True courage is not ostentatious. Men who wish to inspire terror seem thereby to confess themselves cowards. Why do they rely on it? But because they know how potent it is with themselves. A man should learn to detect and watch that gleam of light, which flashes across his mind from within, more than the luster of the firmament, of bards and sages. Yet he dismisses without notice his thought, because it is his. In every work of genius, we recognize our own rejected thoughts. They come back to us with a certain alienated majesty. Men imagine that they communicate their virtue or vice only by overt actions, and do not see that virtue or vice emit a breath every moment. We do not believe our own thought. We must serve somebody. We must quote somebody. We dote on the old and the distant. We are tickled by great names. We import the religion of other nations. We quote their opinions. We cite their law. Envy is ignorance. Imitation is suicide. This time, like all times, is a very good one, if we but know what to do with it. But is there no intent of an analogy between man's life and the seasons? And do these seasons gain no grandeur or pathos from that analogy? It seems to be a rule of wisdom never to rely on your memory alone, scarcely even in acts of pure memory, but to bring the past for judgment into the thousand-eyed present and live ever in a new day. God has armed youth and puberty and manhood no less with its own piquancy and charm, and made it inviolable and gracious, and its claims not to be put by, if it will stand by itself. To the attentive eye, each moment of the year has its own beauty, and in the same field it beholds every hour a picture which has never seen before, and which shall never be seen again. The production of a work of art throws a light upon the mystery of humanity. Nothing is quite beautiful alone. Nothing but is beautiful in the whole. A single object is only so far beautiful as it suggests this universal grace. The secret of ugliness consists not in irregularity, but in being uninteresting. Every man has a history worth knowing, if he could tell it, or if he could draw it from him. We ask for long life, but 'tis deep life or grand moments that signify. Let the measure of time be spiritual, not mechanical. I cannot consent to pay for a privilege where I have intrinsic right. Nature always wears the colors of the spirit. To a man laboring under calamity, the heat of his own fire hath sadness in it. Then there is a kind of contempt of the landscape felt by him who has just lost by death a dear friend. The sky is less grand as it shuts down over less worth in the population. For nonconformity, the world whips you with its displeasure. A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, adored by little statesmen and philosophers and divines. The stars awaken a certain reverence because, though always present, they are inaccessible, but all natural objects make a kindred impression when the mind is open to their influence. No reason can be asked or given why the soul seeks beauty. The lover of nature is he whose inward and outward senses are still truly adjusted to each other, who has retained the spirit of infancy even into the era of manhood. My life is for itself and not for a spectacle. I much prefer that it should be of a lower strain, so it be genuine and equal, than that it should be glittering and unsteady. Do your work and you shall reinforce yourself. Truth and goodness and beauty are but different phases of the same all. There is a time in every man's education when he arrives at the conviction that envy is ignorance, that imitation is suicide, that he must take himself for better, for worse, as his portion. That though the wide universe is full of good, no kernel of nourishing corn can come to him but through his toil, bestowed on that plot of ground which is given to him to till. Accept the place the divine providence has found for you, the society of your contemporaries, the connection of events. Great men have always done so, and confided themselves childlike to the genius of their age, betraying their perception that the absolutely trustworthy was seated at their heart, working through their hands, predominating in all their being. The health of the eye seems to demand a horizon. We are never tired, so long as we can see far enough. In the woods we return to reason and faith. There I feel that nothing can befall me in life, no disgrace, no calamity, leaving me, my eyes, which nature cannot repair, standing on the bare ground, my head bathed by the blight air, and uplifted into infinite space. All mean egotism vanishes. I become a transparent eyeball. I am nothing. I see all. The currents of the universal being circulates through me. I am part or particle of God. Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. No law can be sacred to me but that of my nature. Good and bad are but names very readily transferable to that or this. The only right is what is after my constitution. The only wrong what is against it. Society everywhere is in conspiracy against the manhood of any one of its members. Society is a joint stock company in which the members agree for the better securing of his bread to each shareholder to surrender the liberty and culture of the eater. The virtue in most requests is conformity. Self-reliance is its aversion. It loves not realities and creators, but names and customs. If the stars should appear one night in 1,000 years, how would men believe and adore, and preserve for many generations the remembrance of the city of God, which had been shown? Give me health and a day, and I will make the pomp of emperors ridiculous. I see the spectacle of morning from the hilltop over against my house, from daybreak to sunrise, with emotions which an angel might share. I am ashamed to think how easily we capitulate to badges and names, to large societies and dead institutions. Virtues are, in the popular estimate, rather the exemption than the rule. Be yourself, no base imitator of another, but your best self. There is something which you can do better than another. Listen to the inward voice and barely obey that. Do the things at which you are great, not what you were never made for. Nothing can bring you peace but yourself. To go into solitude, a man needs to retire as much from his chamber as from society. I am not solitary whilst I read and write, though nobody is with me. But if a man would be alone, let him look at the stars. Retrospect and I cannot doubt. It will be found symmetrical, though I mean it not and see it not. In the woods too, a man cast off his years, as the snake he slow, and at that period soever of life is always a child. In the woods is perpetual youth. The tradesman, the attorney comes out of the deed and craft of the street, and sees the sky and the woods, and is a man again. Is it so bad then to be misunderstood? Nature, in its ministry to man, is not only the material, but is also the process and the result. All the parts incessantly work into each other's hands for the profit of man. The wind sows the seed, the sun evaporates the sea, the wind blows the vapor to the field, the ice on the other side of the planet condenses rain on this. The rain feeds the plant feeds the animal, and thus the endless circulations of the divine charity nourish man. To be great is to be misunderstood. Which of Ralph Waldo's quotes would you like to memorize? Please share your thoughts in the space provided below. Please click the notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to A Wise Person Once Said for more videos like this. Thank you for stopping by to watch. See you in our next video.